So basically, today, I just want to, this is kind of focused on people who haven't really used analog consoles, because if you've used one, you kind of know the theory. So this is, for people that maybe have a few preamps at home and go into a workstation, but haven't really used a console in this way. So I just kind of want to go through the basic flow of how you would operate a session.
So to begin, like, how do you turn it on? I know, like, I don't know, analog consoles, they're usually just on, right?
They're usually just on. There's a power supply in the other room.
Okay,
It's probably a lot of consoles have 2 or 3 sections, but basically, you don't turn it on and off. You just leave it on.
Just leave it on.
Generally, it's better. The surging of power on and off is going to do more harm. So it's better this thing stays on 24 hours.
Really? Like, they don't turn it off just for, like, giving it a break or anything?
No, not that I know of. And and I've always been told that it's best not to. It's one of the first things I ever learned is that you just don't mess with the console. Leave it on.
That's amazing.
So, the basic idea, well, I should touch on one other thing. Through the years, as consoles have changed, like when I started in the late 70s, early 80s, you'd see generally 2 different kinds of boards. One was called an inline console, and the other one was a split console.
Yes.
So basically, the theory behind that was an inline console. Let's say you were dealing with 24 tracks on a 24-track machine, and you had a 24 or 32 input console. Well, if you had a big session and you were using, let's say, 20 mic pre's, the idea is the mic pre's come into the board, and you send that out to the tape machine, and then you have to monitor it.
Yeah.
So you can't monitor through the same faders. You have to have additional faders to monitor. Well, if you've only got 24 or 32 faders, the inline boards would have a separate monitor pot that came back from the tape machine. So you'd bring something in on one, send it to track 1, and monitor it on the monitor pot for 1. Okay. Then other boards like Trident would have a split design. So they'd have a group of faders that were the mic pre-faders, and they'd have another whole section over to the side for the returns from the tape machine. Okay. Now this one is a third type, and it's referred to as an all-input console, which means every fader has a mic pre. So you can break it up any way you want to. Typically, the way I use this is I use the right side here for my mic inputs, and I use the left side for the returns from Pro Tools. Okay. And that's just a matter of how you set it up, how you patch things in the Patchbay. But that way, it's like you think of it, here are the inputs, those are returned from Pro Tools. With Pro Tools, you can return only on 2 faders if you want, or you could spread it out across 16.
You can do just left and right, or
you can do just left and right and mix it in here. Or you can spread it out to some degree so that you can send people individual headphone sends. But basically, what I've got here is I've got a CD playing. So we've got some music coming through a microphone out in the studio.
Is this how you test for sound? Just something that's always on?
Well, typically when you bring up a mic, you're going to be routing it to Pro Tools, so you'll be monitoring it from Pro Tools, but it's always a good test to check it on the channel that it's coming into just to see. So by assigning it to the program bus, you can hear it right here. Pro Tools could be turned off, the computer could be turned off. That way you'll know the signal is clean coming in. And in this case, I'm not sending this to Pro Tools, so I'll monitor it here. Okay. But anyway, if you come over here to the Patchbay, and I'll go through the theory of this thing. All the studio mic lines come up here at the top, And from there, everything is what they call normaled down to a certain point. And that means that typically where you would want the signal to flow to, they've gone ahead and wired the Patchbay so that the signal goes to those places.
Okay.
And most of that in this room is where it flows through the console itself, because there are patch points where you can interrupt the signal, and we'll call this the I/O module. At various points in the I/O module, you can interrupt the signal. So it goes from the mic lines to the mic pre-inputs, which is this little section here.
So if you connect the microphone to input 1 over there, it automatically goes to the first.
It'll come up
track 1.
at module 1.
Okay.
Yes. All you have to do is select microphone as opposed to line level.
Okay.
So each one of these can receive a mic level, which would be coming from out there. Or if you don't select mic, it's receiving its signal from the line input, which is at the bottom of the Patchbay here. So that would be, something that's already got amplification, something that's already preamped. It could be any number of things. Could be a modern keyboard. Usually they run at line level these days.
Okay.
So it comes from the mic line. It's normal to the preamp input. And then immediately below that is the preamp output. So you could access the signal right there at the preamp output before it goes through any other processing. If you wanted to use an outboard EQ, that'd be the place to access it, and then you could pass that into whatever outboard EQ you wanted to use if you didn't want to use one of these.
Now, Mike, is that a feature of the all-in-one console that you talked about? That this kind of console is that third kind and all-in-one?
Well, no.
Could you do that with older
all
ones?
consoles would have this.
Okay,
yeah.
you could.
The all input description simply means that there isn't a separate input section and a separate monitor section.
You decide that.
You decide that. Yeah, everything's an input. Everything has a mic pre.
Okay.
So, and you monitor wherever you want. You decide. So after the preamp outputs are the equalizer inputs. So it goes from the preamp to the input of these EQs. You can actually, on this console, which is nice, you can use a signal from another fader. Like, let's say I've got a signal on 32. I can actually use the EQ on 18. Let's say I didn't want, for some reason I had to come into 32, but I didn't want this EQ. I wanted that EQ. You can patch across, go into that EQ, come out of it, come back here.
Okay. The EQs are over there.
Yeah, there's, because you can patch into the EQ. And immediately after the EQ are the insert sends. Now, inserts on a console like this are designed to let you insert a piece of outboard gear. Think of it as inserting it in the middle of the signal chain. Yeah. And you come out an insert send, let's say go to a compressor, come out of the compressor, go into the insert return. And every module has a little insert switch that lets you engage that chain. If you don't push that insert switch, even though you've got that patched in, that compressor is not going to show up. So when you engage the insert switch, it puts that in the flow.
I wonder if for people online we could have a zoom in of the insert button, like more like on this side with this camera, if it's possible. I don't know. Because I want to make sure people can see what we're talking about.
It's here. It's hard to see it from the camera.
Yeah, that helps me.
Hey, Mike, I was curious. When you insert the signal, does that signal go through the chain like the pre and the EQ, or does it come after it?
It's after it.
Okay.
So it's right after the equalizer.
Okay, cool.
So the insert send, I mean, think of it if I patch into the insert send, so I go like into that, I'm going to send this somewhere. The EQ is contained in this, right? So if I've EQ'd it, it's there.
Gotcha.
Before I go to whatever I'm going to patch to.
Okay, cool.
Then after you bring the signal back, if you're using the insert, you bring it back into the insert returns. The only thing left in the module is the output, and you can patch what is called direct outputs, which follows the fader. So it's a direct output of wherever the fader is,
Okay.
which is the cleanest way. You know, usually what you end up doing is you end up patching direct outputs into whatever Pro Tools inputs you want to go to. And I think when you get to the direct outputs on this Patchbay, that's where the normaling stops. These faders aren't normaled to Pro Tools inputs.
Okay.
You have to patch those. One more thing about the normaling, which you'll hear a term called full normal, and you'll hear a term called half normal. So most of the time, all the connections in the Patchbay are half normal. The exception is at the beginning, where the mic line goes to the mic pre. Okay, half normal means that if you patch into the preamp outputs, for instance, and you want to send that somewhere else, the signal still continues through the module as normal.
Okay.
It sort of behaves like a Y connector. You can take the signal from the preamp output and send it somewhere else and still maintain the integrity of the signal through the...
And that's half normal?
That's half normal.
Okay.
Full normal, and I'll show you here. So I'm in on 17, and I patch into studio mic line, which is the source of the microphone out there, before the mic pre-input. This is a case of full normal. Full normal breaks the connection, it keeps the signal from going any further in the chain.
Okay.
And in the case of the mic pre-inputs, well, naturally, if I patch into an input, it's going to break it. Anytime you patch into the next thing down, which is an input, it'll break the signal. But in the case of this full normal, if I patch into the studio mic line, it keeps the signal from even getting here. And the reason for that is that if your signal is split and going to two preamps simultaneously, there could be some impedance problems. So you don't really want to do that. You don't want to send the same microphone to two different preamps. Okay? So this prevents that from happening. But basically everything in the console is half normal, meaning if you patch into any of these outputs, the signal continues on its way, and you can use it to sometimes bring up a signal on another fader, but still have it on the fader you started on. You might want to bring it up separately and do something else to it.
Oh, okay, okay.
You just, you know, there's lots of variation there.
That option would probably help create monitor mixes, huh? When it's half normal, do you have more options to move it around?
Yeah, well, let me see. I think I've used that in mixing, maybe in like in analog mixing there were occasions where the signal coming from the tape machine, I'd want to have it on two faders, one EQ'd differently than the other, and then maybe at certain parts of the song I would switch to the second signal back and forth using automation. So that was a case where if it was full normal and I patched into the output of
You're still getting
tape
the
machine
EQ.
10, I wouldn't get it on 10 anymore. But in this case, I want it on 10 and I want it on 11 too.
Okay.
So I'd patch from output tape machine 10 to 11 on the board. Now I have it on two faders, and I can have one EQ'd for the verse, one for the chorus. Let's say it's a vocal.
That's cool.
These days with workstations, Pro Tools or Logic or whatever, that's a simple thing to do. You could just simply duplicate the track.